10 famous people whose graves are unmarked. 1. Steve Jobs asked for an unmarked grave. The Apple founder died in 2011, aged 56. His final resting place is Alta Mesa Memorial Park. It's the only non-sectarian cemetery in Palo Alto. Alta Mesa is also the final resting place of David Packard. Packard of Hewlett-Packard was Jobs' first employer. 2. Frank Zappa's family didn't want unwanted attention. The legendary musician died of cancer in 1993. Zappa was weeks away from celebrating his 53rd birthday. His family opted for an unmarked grave. It's somewhere in Westwood Village, Memorial Park Cemetery, LA. 3. King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia was given a hush funeral. Abdullah bin Abdulaziz Al Saud died in 2015. The Saudis are strict Wahhabi Sunnis. That means they discourage worship of graves or other objects. Abdullah lies somewhere in Al Oud Cemetery in Riyadh. His grave is indistinguishable from others. 4. Roy Orbison's final resting place wasn't supposed to be. Orbison was a Texas native, but he died in Tennessee and was buried in Los Angeles. After a public memorial, he was interred at the Westwood Village Memorial Park. His family planned to move his remains to Texas. They left the grave unmarked, but never got around to moving the body. 5. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart didn't merit a marked grave. Such was the Viennese custom of the time. Mozart was a commoner, so no marker was expected. He was buried in an individual grave, but it was later excavated. This was also customary for commoners' graves. A marker was erected in 1859, but it's just a stone. 6. Kobe Bryant and his daughter are undisturbed. Both died in a helicopter crash in 2020. Kobe and Gianna Bryant were buried side by side. Their resting place is Pacific View Memorial Park in Newport Beach. Kobe's widow chose an unmarked plot to deter pilgrimages. 7. Bobby Driscoll. Driscoll was one of Disney's first live-action child stars. He served as the animation model for Peter Pan. But when he died in 1968, no one noticed. Driscoll overdosed on drugs and was buried as a John Doe. He was buried in an unmarked grave on Hart Island. The body was later identified through fingerprints. 8. Genghis Khan's burial site was kept secret on purpose. The Mongol ruler died in 1227 in China. His body was returned to Mongolia. The funeral escort killed anyone they met on the way. This was done to conceal the Great Khan's final resting place. The Genghis Khan Mausoleum was built years after his death. It's simply a memorial that holds no remains. 9. John Belushi's grave marker was too conspicuous. Belushi OD'd in 1982 at the age of 33. His original tombstone featured a skull and crossbones. It was inscribed, "I may be gone, but rock and roll lives on." But fans kept littering at the gravesite. The actor was reburied in an unmarked one. The original tombstone still stands. 10. H.P. Lovecraft's gravestone was stolen. Lovecraft was buried in a family plot in Providence, Rhode Island. His name was listed on the marker along with his parents, but it was stolen, presumably by fans. Other fans made a new one in 1977. It marks a different location to avoid disturbing the dead.